They ran. Brent and the witch put distance between them and the angry mob. The yelling could still be heard. Not safe yet. Brent was fine, but the young woman was breathing heavy, and she slowed them. Brent felt a haze over his mind. His thoughts obscured. Not coming together? He could get her to safety. That he was sure. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. Happy Halloween. Today, I feel that it is right that we turn our gaze to the classical witch to celebrate All Hallows Eve. Let's see why their infamy has lasted for millennia. What is a witch? That is the question I asked in the video on Saturday, and today we'll really look at it. In the simplest of all terms, a witch is a woman, usually, and occasionally a man, who uses spells, potions, and other forms of magic to influence themselves, others, and the world around them. In some cultures, witches are not considered to be human. The idea of a witch dates back to the earliest times. Ancient Egypt, Greece, China, and Native American cultures. The presence of witches occurs wherever the concept of magic has taken root. And that is all the world. For many, the witch draws from a mixture of pagan beliefs and shamanism. The view of such beings has changed much over the millennia, and with the religions. The term of witch and warlock are common, but other such names as magician, wizard, sorcerer, and sorceress have been used. There are also plenty of examples of good witches to go with the more dangerous evil witches, even some changing their alignment when needed. In Greece and Rome, witches would peddle mixtures and herbs. Sadly, sometimes there were negative reactions to their medications, and people died. Among the witches of Greece was Circe. Her origins do vary with the source, sometimes of divine and others mortal. She was known for turning Odysseus's men into animals mostly, but she did help Jason, Medea, and the Argonauts as well. In Slavic folklore, we have Baba Yaga, a witch woman who has been a threat and an assistance through much of their legends. Among the Navajo, we have the Adilgashi, the skin changers, which are considered witches by many who use poisons made from baby bones to harm others. Among the Tlingit people, their witches use their hair to curse people through dolls. We also have the Yuta spirit mediums of Japan. Other witches in Japan keep an owl with them. In Africa, we have were hyenas where shamans change their form. Most African witches have a monkey familiar and can turn into a bat to fly. There are multiple ways people can gain magic. Drinking from a human skull, born with a power, and contracts with devils among many others. These are just a few of those who could be classified as a witch. But what most people think of a traditional witch is more tied with Europe and the witch hunts. The woman dressed all in black with a pointy hat who rides a broom, has a black cat. That is what you are thinking of. Let's start with the hat. It pulls partially from the image of Odin, who often wore a blue outfit with a large pointy hat. It is also the base design for Gandalf, but also from the fashion that was common amongst the Middle Ages and into colonial America. The broom is a little more interesting. I mentioned that witches were known for producing certain herbs. Well, the broom was a means to insert some into their undergarments, for pleasure, and to put themselves under hallucinogens. But there is another option, tied back to a pagan fertility ritual, where women would dance about on poles and other such shaped objects. Though they didn't need the brooms to fly. Most stories speak of them flying on their own or turning into animals to fly about. The cat is an issue. Cats were generally seen favorably at the time. Ships and warehouses would keep them to protect their stores from rodents. So, how did they become associated with witches? In 1486, Pope Innocent VII said that black cats were the devil's favorite animal. But the real issue goes to the bubonic plague. Remember, I said that cats were used to catch and kill rodents. But the bubonic plague comes from infected fleas, not the rodent. When the cat kills the rat, it would pick up the fleas and carry them into the house. It was believed that if a black cat slept on a person's bed, then that person was going to die. Yeah, plagues tend to cause a lot of changes, like we touched on with the witch hunts. Originally, witches were not viewed negatively. Much of the pagan beliefs were still widely present through Europe through the Middle Ages, and were even accepted during periods. But that changed with time. Political strife between kingdoms and religions grew, and the persecution of witches. Those whose beliefs varied, that were heretical. It was during this time that witchcraft was tied to the idea of service to a devil. In Greek myth, we have satyrs, fauns, and pans, a horned goat and sheep folk, tied to debauchery and obscene behavior, among others, such as the Celtic horn god Sonorus. Is a common tactic to tie foreign deities to your own, a little harder in a monotheistic religion. The persecution also leads to the formation of secret groups, more commonly called a coven. The word comes from Latin, coventus, meaning to gather. While the word has existed for centuries, it was only in the 20th century that it gained regular use. The coven allowed for a gathering of witches, where they would meet varied, in a forest or a house, depending on the circumstances. Either could arouse suspicion in people. In the modern era, Wicca has emerged. It is a variation of pagan beliefs. They practice multiple rituals and ceremonies of their own. Much of it is written in what is called the Book of Shadows. They are currently a recognized religion with multiple sects and differing beliefs. So what powers do witches have in mythology? Well, multiple cultures speak of shapeshifting as an owl, cat, or bat. We also have flight, curses and hexes to harm people, potions dating back to ancient Greece. A cauldron is just a large pot for cooking. Pretty basic, really. How would you battle a witch? Well, first up, there is a large variety, and each type will need to be handled differently, and targeting its own weaknesses. We will focus on the human variant of the witch today, and leave the others for their own discussion. Regardless, we can't fight the witch until we find them. So, once more, we've got ourselves a witch hunt. You'll need to listen for rumors. Someone's been cursed or hexed. Disappearances. You'll need to keep your ears to the ground. This will be the hard part. Don't go accusing just random people of being a witch. Do it all properly. But once you find the witch, what do? Stealth or just barge into their home? Well, let's scout it out first. Is there a coven? Are you fighting a lone witch or a whole party of them? That will alter your fighting options. If a lone witch, you can take them by surprise, but harder in a group. To fight a witch, you'll want to do a few things. First up, counter spells, magic resistance, and anti-magic will all be needed. If you fall under the witch's spell, the day won't go too well. What spells that a witch can use will vary with the setting. Generally, they are a type of spellcaster. You will need to fight them as such. Most spellcasters are weak in close quarter combat. Ideally, you'll want to do that. What kind of armor isn't going to be important, but you need magical protection. Use whatever weapon you prefer. Most witches wear simple clothing which offers little protection. Some will use a staff or a broom, but so long as you aren't hit in the head, it shouldn't be fatal. Still, best not to be hit. So long as they don't have any spells which stops arrows, you can use them to surprise the witches. There is an old saying about a circle of salt protecting you from harmful magic. How effective it will be depends on the magic. Salt is used to purify. It may be wise to bring some with you. And no, there aren't any examples of witches melting underwater. Don't fall for that trick. If they melt, it is a trick, and they are letting you think you won, so that you will leave, and then let them continue with their activities. If fighting an evil witch, bring a good witch. Fight magic with magic. Be ready to dispel curses. They may notice things that you don't. Ideally, they should be good at counterspells. That could render a witch helpless. Now, there is a question with the devil contract. What happens if it breaks? The devil dies. Would the witch lose their magic? Perhaps. Depends on if it is a constant stream of power, or if the witch just needs to stop in for a refill of power. With the first, yes. But the second, no. Also, there is the chance that the devil may be tougher than the witch. Choose your plan accordingly. It is best to not let the witch launch the first attack. Falling under a spell before you know it isn't good. It is too easy to lose before the fight begins, if it happens. Be on your guard. When hunting witches, be careful with starting a mob. Yes, a mob can make it easier to apprehend the witch, but raises the risk of collateral damage. Also, if making an accusation, be sure you have the right person. Else, you'll end up with innocent blood on your hands, and could easily land you the hatred of others who accuses you of witchcraft. They may attempt to escape and hide by fleeing as an animal. Keep track of what is around you. Have a ranger or druid who can track and speak with other animals. When executing the witch, be sure that it is done correctly. Don't let them pull some spell or potion that fakes death. You'll just end up with a vengeful witch coming after you. Witches are dangerous. That cannot be understated. But these are spellcasters, and they are human. The same as you, adventurer. That is why I am giving the witch a 3 out of 10 for difficulty. They are the same as other humans. Can you side with witches? Oh, definitely. Spells and curses can turn the battle in your favor. Any half-decent party has at least one spellcaster, don't they? They offer long-range attacks and debuffs. Also, you can have them lay curses upon your enemies, weaken, and then strike. There is much to be gained from allying with a witch, but they could betray you, curse and hex you. If they gain their power from a devil, who knows what they may need to do to fulfill their end. And if you are a party member, you'll be dragged in on those schemes, for better or worse. How you feel about that will be your decision. So, what about turning the witch in? If they were harming people, then you'll be helping people, freeing poor souls from foul curses that have been laid upon them. Oh, I'm sure that there will be a reward, and many people that will be thankful for such help. A crossbow bolt flew past Brent's ear. He stopped to turn around and face his foe with a woman behind him. He leveled his axe against the witch hunter, who advanced. Furor filled Brent as he charged. As the two men battled, the witch stood behind, laughing. How brilliant she was, using that dumb brute to protect her. Oh, her patron would be so proud. Another soul to collect. She started backing away while the two men were locked in combat. Witches have definitely earned their place in mythology around the world. Their spells have saved and ruined many lives, some good and others evil. When confronted, you'll need to be careful, adventurers. But remember, a witch is just like any other spellcaster. Handle them appropriately. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you on the roads.